So what we're basically doing here is a pollination exercise, because in cocoa there are most of the different varieties that we have are what we refer to as outcrossing. They are outcrossers, meaning that the pollen from one variety will more easily or readily pollinate the stigma or the ovules. Well, the stigma gets the pollination, and then the pollen grains now move down the style into the ovary, where fertilization of the ovules will take place. So it's a very intricate activity. Your hands have to be steady, and of course the first thing that you will have to do is to identify those varieties which can outcross. We know from previous breeding exercises, and also supported by the genotyping work, that ICS1 or variants thereof is more a what we call in genetics a good combiner, meaning that it has good combining ability or general combining ability. So ICS1 is a good plant to have in your field, so that you can ensure pollination will take place of the other varieties that you do have in your fields. Now, pollination is important because it precedes rather fertilization. So without pollination, then fertilization cannot be guaranteed. So it is important that you do pollination, and of course the pollination can be done for two reasons: either for the purpose of breeding, as we are now doing. It's really a class exercise or conventional and molecular breeding course. That's what we're doing this exercise for. So I'm just assisting one of the groups here carrying out the exercise here. So what we're doing now, the group came yesterday, and what they did, they fixed this cylindrical tube over an unopen floor. That was sometime between 4 and 6 yesterday, and now one of the students from the group is back to do the pollination exercise, because the the pollen sacs usually dies during the night, and and then in the day, in the morning, the earlier part of the morning, maybe between say 7 and 11 o'clock, the ovary becomes most receptive. So the cocoa, you could refer to it. In fact, there is some confusion, but then that might be just as a result of the varieties, where some persons believe that the plant is what we would refer to as it exhibit protandry, so it's a protandry in terms of the which one of the flower matures first. A recent study indicates that it's really the male, right? So the anthers will mature first, releasing the pollen, followed by the stigma, where the ovules become mature and ready for fertilization during the morning session, following the night when your pollen sac would have died, releasing those pollen grains. So that study is quite interesting. The paper, I saw it online. It came out sometime earlier this month, 2024. and so it has really offered some disruptive suggestion as to what are even some of the pollinators, the natural pollinators of the cocoa. So it's a paper that I would suggest for persons who are interested in cocoa breeding, or just interested in the flowering phenomenon, as well as the pollination of the cocoa plant. Because there is still, the jury is still open as to whether or not, if it's the midge, which is really the only and most prominent pollinator of the cocoa. And so this paper has really introduced some very interesting arguments, which I would suggest persons could go and take a look at it. It's an open source paper, so it's freely available online, and you can download it. I think it's on MDIP. I think I'm not sure if I get the acronym correctly, but that is one of the places online that make a lot of papers from from various journals available. So it is something that you can check out online. I don't know if you have any questions on what we have done here, but just to explain that the reason why we actually secure the floor is that we don't really want any insect to